Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm just outside Dunsop Bridge and I'm going to go over the Forest of Bowland, but we've got a bit of an exclusive for you today. Before any of the other top YouTubers, I've managed to get Honda's latest super sport bike. So Mark from near Leeds hasn't had this bike, Teabag 1, Dickie Vegas, Pork Chops, none of them. So I guess you want to see it, don't you? So this is Honda's latest super sport bike from 1965. This is a CB450 KO. All the modern features. We've got twin leading drum brakes, front and back, CV carbs, twin exhaust, indicators, which was quite a rarity back in those days, kickstart and electric start. Yeah, pretty flash for the day. So we'll take it for a ride. We're on my way up to the Lake District, so I've got a bit of luggage strapped to the back. So we're going to take it over the Trough of Bowland. Let's see how she goes. So like I said, it's got kickstart and electric start, so if you want a bit extra manly, not like me, there you go, we're up. So like I said, the 450 parallel twin, when it was new it was making about 40 horsepower, I think 43 horsepower, something like that. So these bikes were brought out to compete with the big British singles of the era, and BSA 650s and Triumph 650s and things like that. Good place to stop that, mate. And a lot of people consider this bike to be the nail in the coffin of the British bike industry. So they were mega reliable, they didn't leak oil, could start, you know, you didn't want to sit there kicking it over all morning, you could just fire it up on the electric start. You've got the indicators obviously, which is you know, Triumphs and the like, you were still sticking your arm out. And it's 12 volt, not 6 volts. Well, there are a few peculiarities with the bike. So with the indicators, a lot of people when they have these now, some of the stuff is very, very hard to find. The original indicators actually sit here on the perches for the mirrors, and they stick up like an antenna, and then your mirror goes on top. They are like gold dust. But so you know, we put these sort of the shot glass ones and these Stanley typed on, just sort of period correct, you know, they look apart. And people tend to fit the later switchgear, but I've got the proper stuff on this. So the switchgear on the later bikes, you've got left and right underneath here, whereas I haven't. Mine are on this side, so it's up for right, down for left, and there's no push cancel, you've got to put it back down. So normally you end up, if you'll indicate right, you'll flick it down and then you'll end up indicating left straight away. Another unique feature on this bike is it doesn't have valve springs, or not traditional valve springs, so it doesn't have a coil spring pulling the valve back closed. This uses torsion bars. And I'm sure somebody will come along and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the first production bike that had a double overhead cam engine as standard. So when these started to get imported and people wanted to race them, they were instantly banned because it was classed as a, I'm going to say a MotoGP engine, or, but certainly at certain levels of racing these were banned because of that. So given the age of the bike, there is zero electronic aids whatsoever, no traction control, no rider modes. You can turn it on and you can turn it off, and that's your lot. No ABS, although the front brake's pretty shocking, to be honest. If I give that a fistful now, I mean it slows you down, but you've really got to use it with the back brake. Also, the brake light doesn't work on the front brake, so you've got to bear that in mind in traffic. There's no switch on these, so comfort wise it's pretty good. I mean, I'm saying pretty good, I'm wincing on every bump. This has actually still got some of the original foam in the seat, which is now just turned into dust. But it's quite a comfortable position to sit in. I've done about 50 miles so far, no problems. It does vibrate a bit. Obviously there's no dampers or no rubber bushes between the engine and the frame, it's just bolted straight in. Some people say take the top mounts out and let it, that sort of settles it down. We've tried it, I didn't think it made it any better. Performance-wise, it's not bad really for its age. When these were brought out, I think they'd say they'd do about 112 miles an hour, something like that. Maybe on a good day with a tailwind, you'd probably just about hit that if you were lucky. Obviously, I don't want to do that to this bike. A bit more mechanical sympathy with it knocking on a bit. But apart from the buzziness, it'll sit at 70 quite happily on the motorway. It does have a little flat spot when you open it up, which they were known for on the original carburetors, which is what I've got on this. Managed to find a good second-hand set. Honda did release an update kit for this, but for some reason they don't stock them anymore. That's something else that you can't get. Along with quite a lot of other spares, it's quite a lot of stuff getting hard to find these days for these. So if you have got one of these sat in the back of your shed rotting away and you don't want it, I will gladly take it off your hands for 10, 15 quid. Or you can eBay it and probably get a couple of grand. bike's pretty standard by one or two bits. And when you got it, didn't have the original handlebars, so I've got some that I think are pretty close. So the cables run inside for the electronics. The electronics are the indicators on the headlight. It's on electronic ignition and advance. But other than that, it's pretty much standard. It's never been rebored, it's still the original size engine. It was restored around 20 years ago. I have rebuilt the engine. There's a few little niggly bits with it. There's some damage on the shifter arm. I can't remember now, it was a couple of years ago, but quite a solid little thing as long as you look after them. Change the oil regularly because they don't have proper oil filter. Thing to ride. I normally call this bike my old man magnet. Not that I like attracting old men, but I took it to the Isle of Man a few times for the Manx Grand Prix, and more often than not when you come back to where it's parked, there's always a couple of people looking at it because there's not many of these left now. Hence why parts are in short supply. Quite a lot of the stuff off the newer bikes doesn't carry over. So obviously everything for these carries a bit of a premium. National speed limit and we're doing 25. It's only got a 4-speed gearbox on this, so you do run out of gears quite quickly. I have geared it up a tooth, I think, on the back. Or front, I can't remember now. Just to try and bring the revs down a touch. Oh, you'll quite happily sit at this sort of speed all day long. This sort of speed, the rev counter's got a bit of a mind of its own. It'll rattle round a bit. It was last year coming home from the Manx Grand Prix. Started to have a few gremlins. It looked like the rectifier failed, so the headlight kept going out. The rev counter cable snapped. There's a little pin that holds the seat shut that vibrated and fell out. Bit of a nightmare, really. She's back up and running now. Thank you. Yeah, due to needing a few bits and pieces and obviously falling apart on the way back from the Manx. Last year I've not really used this bike much. It's It lives in my living room over Christmas, gets the Christmas lights put on it instead of a tree. And other than doing the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride this year, today will be the most it's done for, Christ, well, 12 months. I used it for a week on the Isle of Man, you know, it wasn't 100%, but she managed. So yeah, I'm on my way up to the Lake District now. Up to the girlfriend's tonight. Tomorrow then I'm going to do the Wheels Up North show. And then back on Sunday. So my plan is, funds allowing, to go back to the Manx on it again this year. Hope to do a bit of marshalling again. I really enjoyed that for the TT. The view. So literally that's where I'm going, straight across over there. We'll stick a bridge up, it'd save me quite a lot of time. I think it might be time to have a look at this front brake, to be honest. It's feeling a bit weak, weaker than normal. Yeah, she handles quite nicely through the corners. Sometimes when you're pushing on a bit it does feel like there's a hinge in the middle. But on the whole it's pretty good. Obviously it's not modern day bike good, but this bike as well was one of Honda's first big bikes. Before this came out, the biggest thing they made was the Super Hawk, just 305cc. My dad's got one of them, so maybe we'll get that out one day and have a little ride on that. That was what they classed as the first super bike. So I'm going to stop for some fuel just up here. Hope you enjoyed coming along for that little ride. I do plan on getting out, do some more videos with this. I'll try and do some stuff when I'm over on the Isle of Man. If there's anything you want to know about the bike, leave me a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you. If you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, leave me a comment regardless, tell me what you thought. I'd appreciate that, any feedback, it always helps the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.